CL. My name is McCormiel. With me is Cash, as always. Got another great week of collegiate Call of Duty ahead for you, with a lot of notable matchups that are really going to start to shake up some seeding as we go from top to bottom throughout. But Cash, first and foremost, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Like you said, 3 exciting matches tonight with a lot on the line for these teams going into the back half of the regular season. So a lot of information and stuff to dive into. But yeah, before all that, doing well and excited for everything here.
Absolutely. Regardless of everything else, we've had a couple shakedowns throughout the week, and last week was no different. We saw a lot of what just happened on stream from the After Action Report. But let's go ahead and shift things over to the top 25 and see where people are landing up and teams are going to be talked about throughout this week and going into the later half of the season. Really at the top, nothing too much to change, but St. Clair did make that jump up in the 6th spot there with Texas State, as well as the New Mexico Aggies making their way up into the 8th spot as well. But a couple teams you'll see not in the top 25 anymore. The Arizona Battle Cats, UT Chattanooga, they got knocked out in this week, though. The Longhorn Gaming Boys and COD LSU.
That's exactly what I was going to mention with that episode that you got to see and cover in the After Action Report. Longhorn Gaming, they vault themselves into the top 25. And as you said, we have potential for even more shakeups after this week's concluded. I'm certain of it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of big notable matchups here tonight, but before we get into that, I want to say thank you once again to America's Navy for being able to bring us more collegiate Call of Duty this season. With esports being an extremely competitive environment, it requires you to think quick on your feet and communicate effectively with teamwork and loyalty under pressure. All of these attributes are integral to various Navy careers, and if you'd like to learn more about the Navy's Goats and Glory team, you can go to Navy.com for more information. Thanks again to the America's Navy for being a huge partner of the CCL. Regardless of that, though, let's hop into our first matchup here tonight. Queens Esports, Akron Zips, who are ranked number 16 on the season right now. We talked about this kind of being a matchup for Akron to prove that you are the top of the Northeast. And for Queens, it's the complete opposite. You need to make sure that you can stay within the top 8 conversation for where you want to become playoff seedings in that first round bye, which is oh so important.
Yeah, kind of being on that bubble, being kind of on the line of the ability to be pushed out or knocked out of top 8 is definitely important these last few matches of the season for them to go out, well, the best they can. Winning would be ideal, but it definitely starts with, that formidable matchup in Akron here tonight. Yeah,
absolutely. We'll take a look at the roster real quick here for Queens Esports. Gen, Sue, Conceited, and Narcissist. This is a team, again, kind of in the phrasing aspect of things. I don't want to say it's a do or die time or that this team is in kind of a danger zone of being knocked out of the top 8. But with this matchup this week against Akron, that's going to be a difficult matchup for them. And then, of course, having Penn State and Rutgers down the line, this is going to be kind of the moment of the season where we truly find out about this Queens Esports rosters. They kind of played well against some of the top teams. You think Fisher and Farmingdale when you think of this Northeast division. But again, they still lost those games in 0-3 fashion against them. Really what we want to see here is how they took those losses, where they can adapt some of the skill sets that they learned from those losses, especially against a higher top team here in the mid-pack like the Akron Zips are.
Yeah, it's one that'll show if they can hang with the likes of, maybe an Ontario Tech or an Ohio State getting closer and closer to playoffs if they can stay in that realm and that bubble, as you were saying. I mean, kind of talking about some of their stats specifically, they come in 11 and 13 map count. That isn't all that great, but where they've really been stronger in a sense is kind of been their search and destroy, where they could really test Akron tonight to an extent. It's one that they're going to look to try to maybe push in the distance in once you get to that Game 5 area. But again, it's going to be one that's going to have to very much be earned. Akron is a team that's no slouch at all. And of course in the top 25 at that, so one where Queen's work is cut out for them, but it might be a Neslo type series realistically being their best chance for them to take this. But it's one where again, if they build upon the things you were talking about and if they really come out and show that, hey, they're focused, locked in for these last few weeks here before we head into playoff, they could definitely look well.
Yeah, absolutely. On the flip side, though, Akron comes in again at the number 16th rank overall. This is a team that kind of formed together this year, last moment. Phoebes is really the only returning player on this roster, but the captain at that. Elite, Kaiser, and She Loves Aiden will be joining Phoebes on this roster. We've seen them a few times already throughout the year, but what makes this team so special is how they were able to come together so quickly and be a formidable team, especially in the Northeast. Again, when we talk about the top 2 teams, Farmingdale and Fisher, they're in a league of their own of sorts in the Northeast, but when you think of Akron, this is the 3rd ranking team inside of that division, but you think that they're at the cream of the crop when you were looking at this division from top to bottom. This is a team that is going to be difficult to beat when it comes into the playoffs, and already taking maps off of the 2 teams at the top of the division, again, which are in their own favorable tier, realistically speaking, if they're able to kind of start to make those last minute adjustments towards the end of the year here, getting into playoffs, I truly do think this team has a real shot to make it to land, and they just might be able to upset somebody within that top 10 rankings in the 25.
Absolutely the case. Again, talking about their maps as well and what their map counts are going to be. They come in 18 and 12, right? But realistically speaking, the search and destroys and the controls been their stronger point. They're sitting at 6 and 7 in the hard point. So one that, again, having seen them play, they're just a few decisions, or as you're even saying, adjustments away from really getting things clicking, really being a threat as we start to get into the later parts of the season. But again, for me, the control, whatever part they're sitting at in a series, that control for them hinges to swing things their way, whether they're up 2-0, whether they're tied 1-1, no matter what the case is. That's a mode that they've relied on a lot to kind of be a backbone for them to set themselves up well in series.
Absolutely. Taking a look at how things shake down between both of these two teams and how they stack up against one another. You can see the Akron Zips at that 5-3 record really have started to take control of their own destiny. Right now, they're a lock for at least being a top 8 seed, but I really would put them at that 3 spot without too much trouble. Things get a little bit more interesting, though, as we already mentioned for Queens Esports. They're in a multiple-way tie with a few teams down towards the bottom. They are in jeopardy of potentially dropping out of the top 8 in seeding, but with a match win here tonight, they will put themselves in the driver's seat to control their destiny going forward. But regardless of that fact, this is a very strong Akron team in all of their respective modes. Hardpoint, a bit of a struggle there, but across the board, you can see the disparity just from the graphic alone.
Absolutely the case. And again, having had eyes on this Zips team, they have so much potential. Their ceiling so high. You talked about the 4 players. Kaiser's been a wonderful addition to this team as well, and what he's been able to do. So again, this team is so close and on the cusp of really stringing something together special. And for Queens Esports, yeah, it's simply playing like you've got nothing to lose in a sense, right? They do have a lot to lose, but you can't go in with the mentality of being timid or not being too scared to step up to the plate. You've got to go into it realizing that, hey, play like we have nothing to lose. Let's go out, play our game, work on what we've been practicing night in and night out. And again, I definitely think they could push this squad the distance.
It's going to need to be tip-top shape from both of these teams throughout the match tonight, but we'll take a look at where we'll be going in our best of 5 series, starting out with an Hydroelectric map number 1 for our hardpoint, a Mercado Search and Destroy, and an El Asilo in our 3 maps that are guaranteed in this best of 5 series.
Yeah, if necessary, we'll hit the Embassy Hardpoint and Hotel Search and Destroy to round things out. But Hydro, if you watched any CDL this weekend, a lot of square ups going down on that map, and it's one that really tests your team from top to bottom, right? A lot of those points are close and mixy. Are your submachine guns going to be ready with heads on a swivel for spawns to flip? Your ARs, are they getting out early on transition, rotating, controlling the map well? Spawns will get crazy at certain points of this, so whose awareness is on 10? Who's going to come out here and get the hot hand early? Well, that's just what we'll have to find out. But again, excited to see both of these teams go at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Akron, the favorite team in the matchup here, but Queens Esports looking for an upset to keep their chances in their own hands for a nice top seed. You can see in the water already, underground is going to be the beatdown from Elite that'll open up the gate, but Akron have gotten themselves early on into P1 to start things off. Really what you're going to start seeing here from Akron is their want to start pushing the map over towards the right and make sure they can secure their spawns for P2.
Queens Esports more than aware of it. They sniff out the first push, and now their push towards mid-map begins. Akron trying to get a bit of time off of here, but Queens Esports going to give the push, going to try to excel this line forward and maintain P2 spawns, as you see Sue doing in the back line, just making sure things are nice and tight for the squad. And Akron now, once they have P1 control, going to try to push beyond, going to try to influence these P2 spawns. With about 10 seconds left, they'll have to get rolling, but spawns for now in the hands of Queens.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up. Getting into P1 was the biggest single factor that was going to halt them from being able to push to P2 effectively, but they get that done. They win the opening gunfights. This is going to be one who hops in towards the point. So as Kaiser falls up top on Dome, a power position for Akron goes away, while Queens are able to at least lock down the first initial seconds here on P2 as another hit from Akron on the loom.
Elite, what are you able to find on the flank? Sue's back here, and you're able to cut him off not only his 3 spree, but again, open the door for a pinch play to develop. How quickly can your teams fly forward and get on this time? You still have Narcissus there to try to slow things down, but Akron will get the break. They will get a good amount of time left on the board with still 30 seconds left.
Nice influence of spawn there from Akron. But as Queens Esports looks to go ahead, counter back across the map, they're probably going to give up the majority of the P2 time here and just say, hey, you know what? We'll take our losses. We'll set back up across the map. We'll get there for P3 and hopefully hold things down this time like they weren't able to do over on P2.
Akron grouping up 3 of these players, pushing through this bottom side of the map. They know that the importance of spawns is going to be critical for P3. They want to get in the back influence these around a warehouse and look to attack the point from there. And with a 50 or so point lead, I mean, they've got the time to work with for sure. So Kaiser will pick one off around P5, and now Sue knows that this is going to be a multiple person push. How can he take care of it as the hill popped and they're getting time?
Yeah, but Aiden also has a flank coming through the front of the door, so even though Sue has a 1 versus 3 in the back line here, as long as they can take care of Gwen, things get a lot easier over at P3 itself. Sue will fall in the back line, but Queens Esports have held down things for at least the first 20 seconds of this hill, and as another kill is going to fall onto Elite, and a pinstripe kill feed will allow Queens Esports to maintain things. It's going to be those south side spawns and the deep left mini-map spawns for Akron that are going to retry to hit this with 25 seconds left.
And I talked about it coming into the map, but you already see Thieves getting out on rotation for P4. Gwen going to be close in tow as well. Your ARs are going to be rotating at 25, 30 seconds of time, given that, hey, we'll give up 20 in order to gain 60 or so points. P4 is one that can very much be a money hill if you get a clean setup, and that's exactly what Akron's trying to do here. But Queens Esports spawning close, getting through the back ruins, and now trying to influence spawns themselves.
You see Thieves could be the single biggest factor here. Narcissist will check him around the corner, though, so that will cut down those at least secured spawns for Akron in the moment's time. She loves Aiden, a nice trade there. Kaiser will find himself one as well, but it's a double-double back and forth, and Queens Esports will be on top of the kill feed now. Spawn still deep in the back. They can hold on here. They just need to make sure they're taking advantage of the time while also spreading the map to make sure Akron can't get a few free kills on the hill, and that's exactly what they'll do. A nade comes in, Akron's through the front door, and they've got themselves hill time for free while player number 5 and Sue spawns out across the map.
Back and forth time sitting empty. Queens Esports got so much time off P3 that they're not desperate for P4 time. Sure, they're trying to get a good sound setup in, but still 25 seconds left to grab. They'll happily take it. Don't know how well they'll get out on rotation, as they're just going to have to run it up the gut to try to find an opening. Akron maybe going to give it one more hit to try to get this time to sit empty, and as Elite flies around the corner, he's able to find a couple, paired with Kaiser for the third, but Gwen will shut things down. Last bit of scrap time going to go the way of Queens Esports, and now they're going to have themselves a lead.
Kaiser, gunfight, Gwen up top, beam, see you later, partner. As you look over towards the right side of the map, Narcissist looking to make himself a route back to 100 HP, though, is Kaiser ready to challenge up the next person from Queens Esports who wants to try their hand at a gunfight. As the hill over towards the next part of the map has gone ahead and popped. 10 seconds to Akron is going to take control of the lead yet again for the Zips. Interesting little bit of rotation back and forth there, but as they are able to at least once again regain control of the mantle on the map, Queens Esports will at least hold themselves at bay, wait for the rest of reinforcements to get up the map, and then make the push in towards the hill, starting with Conceited, who will get his way in. Narcissist, though, will open the door. What kill there on the Kaiser?
Trying to push through and win some 1v1s, and it's really been Narcissist leading the charge, as you were saying, but it's just individuals pushing into the hill. They haven't gotten a team push, and Akron have been able to read it so well. Now time sitting empty, but you've gotten enough time if you're the Zips in order to garner yourself another 30 or so point lead. Aiden on a 4-3 here. What more can you find? Streak can be so influential as we go back to P1, but for now, if you're Akron, you'll take that time. You'll give up just a handful of seconds just for a rotation to P1. As we look to kick things off, it's Akron in control by a margin. We'll see how much more they can look to expand on it here.
Elite's looking to hold down the cross. We'll find the first one. He's got help from Thieves over the top with a nade there, too. 5 streak now from Thieves. We look to Gwen, who's trying to make some noise over the top. Shots on the Kaiser. Won't be able to connect for a kill, but Thieves is there and will now earn himself a cruise missile, which is utility in the back pocket for Akron, whether they choose to use it on a break or perhaps a different hole that they're trying to get across the map. Either way, 2 players playing out towards the water. Beautiful aerial shot there from Ryan Twitchy. Thank you so much, sweetheart. And as Sue falls there from Thieves in the hill, he'll continue his spree to 8 in a row. He hasn't died in 2 whole hills.
It just feels like Queens Esports started playing individually ever since P5 went around. There was never a clean team push. It's just individuals challenging certain lanes, and as you see in the kill feed, one by one getting picked off. More of the same occurring in Akron, taking full advantage of it. It has been a near full 60 on P1. How seldomly do we see a play like that? Now they're leads out to 70 points, and as you said, utility in the back pocket, they can blow this thing wide open.
Big gunfight win if Narcissist can find it onto Kaiser in the top. Once again, Akron loses the power position of the dome, but it's this time they have found themselves out early and rotated into P2, where Queens will once again look for a break on this squad that has held this hill down for the majority of the time on the first rotation. One in the top, 11 and 14, looking to turn his game around, but jumps directly in the line of sight of Thieves, and as Elite finds a double, it's all 4 down from Queens, and Akron Esports once again are continuing to fly here in the second set of rotations.
Look to see them push up beyond P2. They're going to try to get to the mid-map, the 50-yard line there, and keep Queens Esports spawning at P3. They're fine to have to make that break because they are once again looking at another full 60. They're going to have 120 nearly unanswered points over the 200-point mark, and closing in on closing this one out here. It'll be 35 or so seconds needed for them. And would you look at that? Thieves did the work to get out and rotate. They've got spawns in the back. It's going to be a two-front war here for Queens Esports soon, and they need a big response on this hill.
Absolutely. They come in the way of Thieves, though, on the opposite side for Akron if they're going to go ahead and try to break in, but it's Elite who's there first. Double kill with the Vaznev, gets Akron in for the time, and forces Queens Esports to be discombobulated with spawns across each portion of the map. Two in the back line, not going to be able to find anything just yet. Kaiser once again a kill, 227 to 101. This game got blown open very quickly, all in the back end of Thieves having a monumental turnaround in the mid portion of the game.
Going into P5, going into P1, excuse me, it was like 113 to 95. It was a 20 or so point game, and ever since then, really since the second set of rotations has kicked off, it has been all Akron Zips, all in the feed to Slaying, completely set them apart, and now just a second needed to close this one out. Queens Esports, no one going to get close enough, and even if they did, I don't know that it would matter. Akron Zips hitting new levels here at the second half of that game.
Well, you got to tip it to Akron. But a player that I think you got to tip it to the most within that performance, aside from Thieves, is She Loves Aiden. He was being a nice little kill kitten there inside the point, being able to soak up tons of time. He had over 3 minutes in the first map of the series, which again is tippable. 3:05 there. Shout out Miami. So overall, quick, conceit. Nice first map there from Akron. Happy to see them get out to a good start. But Cash, one of your keys to victory was for Queens Esports to be able to get out of the gates early and often, especially in respawns. They did it for the first, 2, 3, 4 hills. But ever since that point, Akron just hit a different level. They were able to kick it into high gear when they swam around Hydro Electro and circles around Queens.
They absolutely did. I mean, again, from the start of it, it was pretty neck and neck, 50-50, but just you can't overstate enough how fiery the Zip started playing at that second set of rotations to really just take the game away from Queens Esports. And now we have a look here at some of the highlights from it. I mean, you pick a point. Everyone was frying at one point, but again, the Zips really doing the most damage in the late portions of it. You see it's a neck and neck game through the first 4 or so hills. P5 is where things really started to blow open, but yeah, great work out of them. I don't even know that Thieves invested his cruise missile that year and didn't even need it.
Yeah, it was interesting because I never got like the audio cue, and I know our production team is great, so they would have been able to pick up on it. But the fact that you don't need to use that cruise missile in the later portion of the game is kind of cracked, to say the least. Because I mean, when he earned it, it was like what, a 10-15 point game. They had just reclaimed the lead for themselves, and then things just continued to spiral. I mean, again, give it to the hands of Akron for all being able to kind of hit the similar page and just say, all right, well, these guys are not able to shoot back at us. Even though the game was close, Akron was still out fragging them in the slaying department by a considerable margin, even when the game was about tied at 80. I think really the big swing point of that game for me, though, it might have seemed kind of unimportant at the time, but it was when Narcissist was able to find Thieves in the back line, who was trying to hold that angle to get behind everybody, and then they just allowed Elite to slide through the middle of the map, and then he popped that big double for the last 30 seconds of time over by P4. Which in my opinion was just kind of the moment where I was like, dude, what are we doing? Queens, hey, turn it around real quick. But ever since that moment, that was when they had that 30-40 point advantage. Akron were able to retake that, and then Queens only scored 20-30 points the rest of the game. So congratulations Akron for map number 1, but now you got to do it again in Search and Destroy.
Absolutely the case. We'll have one last look here at the scoreboard, and again, to me, the standout. Love OBJ players, and over 3 minutes in the hill is a good old time. Not only that, but to be 16-11 on top of it, it lets your teammates, play loose and fast and have a good time flying around the map. So a good, well put together effort out of Akron there to take that one 250 to 101. And now we switch gears to a Mercado Search and Destroy for map 2, where again, it feels like a must respond for Queens Esports given how quickly that hard point got out of control.
On the wise words of Brogan, Thieves is nuts. They showed it in map number 1 there. Regardless, across the board, I kind of want to just take a look at our series again one more time so we can see where we're going next and where the series will continue to go. Because again, you brought up a point early on in the broadcast that for Akron, their biggest point in the series is that third map, that control. Whether they're down in a series or they're up, it's either a swing map for them or a map where they can strongly close a series out. And the fact that now we're going to a Mercado Search and Destroy where Akron is still good in the mode, and it's two of their better modes. Hardpoint's their struggle, and the fact that they beat them 250-101 101 and map 1 speaks volumes to how this series could potentially pan out, because now everything falls in the hands of Queens Esports. We said that we needed to see how they would, kind of stack up against the top mid-pack team in the Northeast. Right now, it's not great for them. It's looking very similar to what we saw last week against Farmingdale, where they were just off to a slow start. They never really got back to it, and I just hope that doesn't fate them the same way again.
Absolutely the case. There was no electric play, no playmakers there in map 1, and Mercado Search and Destroy is definitely a place they could get that started, whether it be even as simple as a 1v1 clutch or just a really well executed round out of them. It takes one explosive play for some of these teams to kind of get things into gear and get players, get teams going. So for Queens Esports, I'm looking for a big response in the Mercado. Again, good execution both offensively and defensively. Either side of the bomb need to know that they have a game plan, that they're willing to go in, and you can see that they have something they want to execute, because Akron, no search and destroy team to sneeze at, 6-3 on the season in that mode specifically, and Hardpoint was the mode they needed to come out strong and maybe try to take. It gets taken from you in map 1, so big response need to be channeled here. Mercado can play messy at times, but who's going to make the most sense out of all of it?
Well, our second map falls upon us. Sprint down A lane central. That's exactly what we'll see here early on offense. She Loves Aiden will be the bomb carrier, but his nade over the top will be able to connect with Conceded to give Akron the first blood here in the round, as they've already gotten themselves control over on this A site. As long as they can get this bomb down and at least take another Queens Esports player off the board, it's pretty much looking like a guaranteed round win here early on.
Looking to try to get their post plant set up in. You got someone balcony watching tunnel. You got Thieves playing hop up and watching the players push into the back. So as you said, with bomb down and Aiden not only getting out this life, it's going to be a 3v4 retake. You really have so much to clear out, and that's even if you can take the gunfights. Thieves and Elite going to combine for a couple more. Suddenly Gwen in a 1v4 situation. Well executed out of the zips and clinical on the push.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you can get a consolation kill right there, but I mean, your best bet here is either going to be going for exit frags or maybe just hopping yourself off the map, not giving another kill the way of Akron. Either way, though, I mean, you just got to tip it. You win the first gunfight, and you get the bomb down. That's about all this map is, and even if you get a few more kills here, you just have no time to get that bomb defused. So Akron will go ahead, come out the gate strong with an offensive round win. They'll go up 1-0 on Queens.
The first blood out of the, nade that was thrown, right, just showing the coordination of tack usage, sprinting down that alley, but really it was the decisive play to get the bomb down quickly, right, put the clock on the side of Queens Esports. It was a 3v4 as well, so again, the first blood was great, but again, I think executing around that bomb site, even better, and there you go. Right over the top. Shout out to Twitchy, man. He doesn't miss anything.
No, he doesn't. I can speak from experience. That guy, sex symbol. Regardless, offensive round here out now. Narcissist going to try and hop up on the RV. Over the wall, though, with the sniper. Won't be able to connect with anything. A late route there won't allow him to connect with Elite, which will, unfortunately, force his teammates to take the gunfight in the tunnel. He will then lose and give Akron yet another first blood here in the round. Gwen takes a gunfight down below. Won't be able to connect with enough to kill the player who's challenging from Cantina, but now that Thieves is behind on a nice little flank there, Narcissist will fall, and Queens Esports, while they're trapped in the bomb site at A, with the bomb not going down.
I mean, Thieves. Akron not losing many gunfights here to start off the search and destroy. Playing in great positioning. Gwen now 1v2 bomb down, but the pinch developing through Cantina. Will he recognize Elite in the back, even if he can find this kill? Answer probably going to be no, and it will be no. Again, great out of Akron. Not only was it, the misplay by Narcissist, not able to get the sniper up in time, that lets your player get tunnel in order to take that first blood off of Queens Esports, and then it's the player for Akron through the back that's able to get rid of Narcissist and eliminate the threat of a sniper. Ends up getting all the way through pinch play and help out his teammate. Akron playing really heads up search and destroy right now.
Back to offense again here for the Akron Zips. Last time is, yeah, you guessed it, straight over towards A, running down the alley, nades and stuns over the top in a set spot, and well, here it is again. Will anything connect this time? The answer is no. No first blood's off the board here for Akron pushing up, but it's Thieves over the top with the AR that will open things up, giving Akron once again all the control in the world of this A site. However, it's going to be a bit more difficult this time to push out, because Narcissist does have a sniper set in position over that back wall, where a few key power points are going to be for this offensive attempt. However, of course, as the second player of Queens Esports goes down, that bomb is going to go down at A here for Akron Zips. And while Queens Esports will once again have a 45-second timer to retake.
They're going to try to push through tunnel, but you know the Zips just aren't going to give up anything. They played the bait and switch to a T. Narcissus left with the sniper. Not sure if they're aware of it, but I think they know that he's going to be back here. And they're just going to go hunting for this kill. The collapse is in. The bait and switch is out. Clinical work from the Zips 2-3.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like, you know, if we've learned anything through 3 rounds, it's offense and defense, you know, all the same to Akron. They're going to get aggressive, and if you allow them to get that first blood, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be able to take the round off of you. You know, Queens just needs to make a simple adjustment. You know, whether it's getting that sniper up faster from Narcissist in the middle of the map, or just running things down and taking a bit more of an aggressive gunfight on Akron. You know, they say a lot of times you have to play more passive to you know, combat aggression. Sometimes aggression with aggression can be a good thing. And if Queens Esports are able to get on top of that, might force Akron to kind of take a step back and play a little bit more passive on the map in kind of return. So Narcissist will be inside of the bottom of Cantina. Nobody with a first blood here from Queens Esports yet on offense. It's actually the flip side, where Kaiser with the sniper in the back line of the alley will go ahead and find himself a kill. Almost takes the head off of another. Somehow, some way, Gwen escapes with his life.
They just have such good control. I mean, they're pushed through tunnel for Queens Esports. They're not even past the A-bomb site, which is really troubling because you kind of got to be able to take beyond that, get to the other side of tunnel in order to feel secure and getting the bomb down. Everyone prone, stuck, crouched, looking around at where this next push could be coming from, and the Zips simply have you locked in. They have no worries about this, knowing you have to get this bomb down. Everyone holding their angles, ready to take the gunfight. I don't know that Thieves has lost one in tunnel yet. There's a trade.
Yeah, Thieves very seldomly loses gunfights on a map, but when in S&D, when he's able to turn himself up to a degree and be able to put his foot down first, you're not going to be able to challenge him. Also, word from Logan, you know, in the middle of these rounds, I believe Thieves is actually doing some extracurricular activities as well that don't pertain to collegiate Call of Duty. So he said he wanted that to be known. I'm just the messenger here, but it seems like Thieves is able to not only fry, but get his money up at the same time, regardless of the fact, once again, it's Akron back to offense. It's been 4 quick and easy rounds here so far, Cash. I expect nothing but the same here for Akron in round 5.
It's been all first bloods for him as well. That's simply dictated the pace. I mean, since Kaiser's put out the sniper, found a kill each round with it as well. And now they're going to swing it really quick towards the B site. So though Queens maybe gets a little aggressive, tries to get the Cantina, no one will be home. They're going to have word in a moment that this bomb will be switching over to the site. They're going to regroup and try to formulate their push over here. Akron look to get in position to get this down.
I mean, if you are Queens, you know, I don't blame you for going all out over at A. You kind of have to, and then you're forced to rotate back over towards B if a team does go there on offense. But you can't allow the bomb to go down in that same breath. And as Aiden's able to find himself a first blood here, Kaiser, Elite, and Aiden all streaking for this Akron Zips roster. Gwen's able to find one here, but in a 3 versus 2, it's going to be difficult with only 30 seconds left to not only find information on where these players are, but to get together in tandem to be able to take even one of the 3 gunfights you're going to be forced into. Aiden with his 3rd kill in the round, looking for the ace here. Last player alive is going to be Gwen. Really, all it comes down to is if Aiden can beam, and the answer is yes. Hey, Poppy, he's hot right now.
Ace on the round. Match point for Akron Zips to go up 2-0. It has been a commanding series thus far. Search and destroy, playing even cleaner than the hard point did. It has been clinical work out of Akron here. They can do no wrong. Everything they've wanted to do around the map, simply imposing their will. Queens Esports, this is your last chance to make any kind of stand here in the search and destroy. Otherwise, you're looking down the barrel of a rather hot 3-0.
Well, if you're Sue, you're also looking down the barrel of a goose egg right now. Donut alert has been broadcasted in the lobby. Sue will hope to at least get himself on the board here, or face the ever-critical shame of Twitch chat. Narcissist in the back line will spot out Elite, so the call for a flank has been known and announced to the Queens Esports roster. As he's gotten in back towards P4. He should get cut down in just a second by Gwen. Just kidding. Dude, he is insane.
Yeah, actually. But hey, Sue gets on the board, so
W.
red sticks for everyone. And, hey, Queens Esports maybe took Sue getting on the board to make it a more manageable round. It's a 3v1 here, and they could have cracked the code.
They say it's better late than never. It'd have to be a full sale if they want to go ahead and walk away. I thought Kaiser beams him off the top of Cantina. But both of them will live to see another gunfight. Kaiser hops out the back of the double doors. Narcissist is going to be up top. Not good timing there. Kaiser can't snap to go ahead and take advantage of a couple shaky shots that came out of the Queens Esports player. And that'll put them on the board here for the first time. So the first round of 5 that they'll need straight to at least tie this thing up is going to be tallied onto the board. Queens Esports at least have a fighting chance to make a full sweep a possibility.
Who'd have thought winning a few gunfights makes things a bit easier? Queens Esports finally showing signs of life here, but as you know, we're kind of alluding to, is it too little too late for them? Gwen, the only one maybe having a worthwhile performance, but Akron, you know, whenever they want to say go, they find a way to get things done here. Offensively, they've had no troubles. We'll see if guys can find anything else with the sniper. Oof, I don't know how that missed. I don't know how that missed either. Thieves opens up with the first blood, though, and ain't able to find for another after the trade.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be the chair there. Not allowing him to connect with the shots in the middle. He'll actually hit with that one, but it will be a hit marker at first, but he'll get him with a second shot that rings through, and the Akron Zips will take a very quick and easy search and destroy on Mercado. Be able to have themselves a 2-0 lead in this best-of-5 series. If you're Queens Esports, I would start to worry if I wasn't already worried after the first hard point, because now you're going up against Akron in the control, which, well, once again, their best game out.
Yeah, sitting at 6-2, it's going to be an Asilo as well. One that, you know, a lot of teams look to make their specialty as far as the three maps you have to choose from, and Akron look to, like I said, kind of in their key to success, right? It's going to be wherever they're sitting at in this third mode, they're going to find a way to swing it in their favor. In this case, it's going to be swinging it so far in their favor to close the series out. And for Queens Esports, I just don't know that we've seen tangible adjustments and signs of life from them to be able to battle back. It started in the first part of the hard point. Maybe they had a chance, but realistically in the search and destroy, there was minimal from them that you could say looked to be signs of improvement.
Across the board, you know, we said in the hard point, you know, all it was going to take from Queens is just, you know, putting yourselves in a few better positions, maybe challenging a couple more gunfights together. Honestly, though, in the search and destroy, really what it came down to was they were just slow to a lot of their marks. On offense, they were a little bit more passive. They didn't want to directly challenge out any of the Akron players. And when they did, Akron made them pay for challenging out by themselves. When it was Akron on the offensive side and Queens was playing a bit more passive, they didn't have an answer for those early stuns, those early nades that they were throwing out to check them back and force them not to be able to push into Canteen. And that's how they got the site for free every single time. No pressure throughout the middle of the map because Kaiser was holding things down with a sniper. A narcissist sniper really didn't give all that much benefit to Queens when they were on offense, so it was just a simple matter of who was able to dictate the map better. Akron were the ones who won that battle, and right now they're winning the war. 2-0 up in the series. The search and destroy goes their way, but She Loves Aiden was the one who was able to take over in dominant fashion. The ace in the penultimate round was just oh so gorgeous. And well, now with a commanding lead in the series, you go to your best map and you're going to try and make this a time respecter, as this has only been about a 30-minute series so far.
Absolutely so, and I think the one last stat I want to point out is that through 7 rounds, Akron won every single first blood. So, again, like you had mentioned, late to marks, different things like that. Either way, Akron take every single first blood, and yeah, that's going to be a problem. If you're constantly fighting from a man disadvantage, not going to bode too well for you there. So,
yeah,
you're saying we switch gears to El Asilo, one where, like you said, we are paying respect to everyone's time here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, talking about time wasting, we're going to send things to a quick break. When we come back, Control will be underway, and Akron will try to close out the series in a 3-0. Don't go too far. Well, got some good news and some more good news. Good news, Akron on the verge of closing out this series with a Control. Also good news, we're not playing a Fortress Control. So, as El Asilo is the next map up on the docket, Queens Esports looking to go ahead, rewrite themselves how the series is going to play out. They would need to have a reverse sweep, of course, to even come back in this. But again, they're kind of in the driver's seat right now. If they were to win out for the rest of their season, they would guarantee themselves at least a top 8 seed, which would be good enough for a first-round bye in the playoffs. For Akron, all they're trying to do is continuously win out so they can guarantee themselves the 3rd place spot and the 3rd seed for wherever they will end up out of their division. So, regardless of anything that happens throughout the rest of this, one thing just remains plain and simple. Queens, you got to find a way to win a map. Akron, you just got to close out the series in your best mode.
Absolutely the case for Queens Esports. Beyond, even if they're able to reverse sweep the series, right? We've seen enough to say that, hey, there's still stuff that needs to be worked on, right? Even the same thing can be said for Akron at times as well, but at least Queens having, quote unquote, more on the line with playoff implications. Definitely one where you want to see them. This is the most pivotal part of the game, right? To make those adjustments. What was the talk like in this break? What was the conversation surrounding how are we going to tackle this Asilo Control, one of our worst modes? How are we going to find a way to contest it, if not find the win here? And for Akron, like you said, continuing to try to show and boast that, hey, we're trying to close that gap between what really is the top 2 teams in our pool.
Well, out the gates, it's going to be an offensive hit here from Akron. An offense would go quite well for being able to take this Control in map number 3. But it is going to be Narcissist who opens up the gate early on. However, it's a double back, now potentially a triple here if Elite's able to take this gunfight. Win, he will, for Akron, which will get them over towards that A zone. It's going to be Phoebes, the first one on it. Queens Esports looking to retaliate back to the opposite side of the map. But Kaiser cuts down the first and Sue, who was at least the first contention point for Queens Esports to get Akron off this point.
And it's really just what angle do you want to pick and hope someone's not watching it with a pre-aim. I mean, so long as you have Kaiser playing tower, he's going to be a threat from up top. You trust that your SMGs can get Mixie down below and at least look to keep the defense off. That's going to be the case for now as A gets captured. Over 2 minutes on the clock, up in lives as well. And with Kaiser finding a couple kills through the back line, that's going to be the floodgates opening up. Zips, they're pushing through the back. They want to influence these spawns.
They just need to be aware, though, that Queens Esports does have 2 players behind them, so a pinch could converge on this B zone if they were to hop up on it. As Narcissist gets weakened up a bit there by Aiden, he'll be forced to back off as a Semtex came his way. It's going to be this out of Akron, waiting, holding their different angles for everybody to get into position. But right now, love where Kaiser's sitting. He's just waiting for his team to get across the map, and then he can be the one to actually force a pinch play on the Queens Esports defensive retake.
2 players you see holding hands, trying to clear this out. We'll see what timing they can get. Gwen will get a great kill. Not only doesn't get him out of that power position, it cuts him off streaks. He was 1 off there. Sue finds another kill in tow. You're able to push this Akron line back. At least hold off a push. They haven't gotten a great look at it either. So for Queens Esports, damage control has been done for now. You got to survive for the next 70 or so seconds. These onslaughts of kills.
4 lives separating the teams. Thieves, quiet game so far. At least as quiet as you can make a control effort. Actually hop out of the window, get behind one. I think he slipped into the backline of a few players up in the top. That's just on the hand of great timing. He'll find a second kill there, and now the third one's going to be behind him. Conceded's able to take down Thieves, but this has allowed Akron to open the floodgates, get onto the B zone. Kaiser will be the next one to line up in Conceded's line of sight. On 3 in a row, Akron are still on the point here, dangerously close to getting their first tick of progress in B. They'll go ahead and find it before everybody else, the reinforcements on the offense, can get here. She Loves Aiden still laying down, waiting for a few more players to push up, just in between a rock and a hard place. Just so happens that hard place is Sue.
Able to get 1 tick of progress, still up in lives as well. 40 seconds left though, that time going to quickly dwindle for the Zips and their effort. They're trying to group up through field side. No one hitting her out through Queens. They're all playing it passive and playing it safe here as this next push looks to come in.
Kaiser, gunfight win on a Narcissist. He'll be weak, though. Forced to back up. Elite will be the one who gets to the hill first, and the time will stop yet again at 24 seconds. Fees, headshot from Gwen. Nice over the top, and as Conceded's able to find himself a double. It's going to leave She Loves Aiden by himself, as Narcissist just flies right by him without being able to spot him inside the little nook and cranny room off to the left. Gwen, waiting for everybody from Akron to make their way up the map. They've actually infested the middle building and gotten 2 kills to walk away with it, but now they need to stop the clock because it's only 5 seconds left. 10-8 on lives. Gwen, a double kill, looks for Thieves, forced to back off, but a nade is going to be able to get over the top before the trophy system comes in. Minute and a half left, excuse me, a second and 6 seconds left. Queens Esports will be able to go ahead and take themselves a nice little defense there. However, Akron was able to get themselves 4 ticks in total, so that'll bode well if things go to a round 5.
Good push from them, but even better push back out of Queens Esports to hold on there defensively. They kept their composure. They didn't give up any big plays, and where they did, they always had a player left standing who was able to find a couple of kills. So they won a good defensive round off the board, but like you said, you get at least 4 ticks. If you are Akron, Queens Esports have to come out with a big offensive round of their own if they want to try to retaliate back and keep the possibility of round 5 up and in their favor.
Will the defensive opportunity for Akron yield them any more success? You look to Thieves, who's already got himself out over on the radio tower. First shots will connect onto Sue. Blood going in the way of Akron to open up the round. Gwen will be the next one to challenge over towards the radio side. Nobody going to be looking at him, but it is a pinstripe kill feed that allows Kaiser to get back into the double doors. Gwen will go ahead and keep himself down for the time being, just checking around him to see if any more Akron players will be off the respawn block here in just a moment. Middle of the map, not held down by Queens right now. They're going to try and get some East map positioning over towards that A zone. First player up is going to be Narcissist, and onto the point, stop the clock.
Elite playing upstairs is going to be a problem as well. He can just peek out this window, kind of shoulder and feed information to his team, knows someone's tower, but the subs are going to be everything for the Zips here defensively. Elite can fly down and fly around the map alongside Aiden. The way they've been playing tonight has been nothing short of excellent. And now they're continuing to do the same. Now they're in a position to put them in a spawn trap as Aiden finds his 3rd here on the round. And now you can see with their positioning what they can do to this Queens Esports team off spawn.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a really, really strong spawn trap right now, and as Narcissus falls in the back staircase, you can realize if you're Akron, hey, nobody else is spawning here. Let's get back over towards A and see what we can do. It's Gwen, though, who's up on the top of the radio tower, able to find the first kill, but Kaiser on the Heglitch is going to be able to retaliate with a kill of his own. 1-to-1 trade back and forth we go, 15 seconds in the round, and Queens Esports yet to get onto a zone to try and get at least the first tick of progress. A nade on the Kaiser might have just helped them out, as Phoebes is now in the back line. Sue, good trade there onto his teammate, but it's the rest of Akron who are now through the double doors. They're able to win the first gunfight, the second one around the corner. They're going to lose that as well. All it comes down to is Gwen, but he needs to make a move back over towards A.
Yeah, he's going to have to get down from this tower position. He's going to fly at it now, but flying into pre-aims, your teammate gets on it to stop it. See what you can do now as you try to pinch around, and Akron going to get in position to give this another collapse. Surely you would think, just needing one more. Here comes a push.
I mean, they have the lives to do it. You need to dump it in. You don't want to allow Queens Esports to walk away with a few haphazard ticks, and they'll do just that. They win the gunfights around the hill. It's 3-1 down. Sure, Kaiser's at 14 kills, but it hasn't really mattered all that much in this round because now Queens Esports, they've got an extra minute to work with. They've got 3 ticks of progress over on Zone A to vote for a final defensive round. And on top of that, they were at least for the moment able to bring the lives back within a reasonable manage. Of course, Akron's opened that door again, though, and made it a 10-life disparity.
I was wondering if that was going to be the exact play call out of the Zips. Go play some TDM. You had him in a spawn trap earlier. You could put the lives with a great discrepancy once again, and they have Queens Esports down to single-digit lives. Elite, Aiden, get up in the mix and try to cut him down off spawn. Now it's going to be Thieves' turn out as he's able to find 2, but again, all this does is eat the clock. All it does is bleed lives, and Queens Esports now, once again, working against the clock.
As long as they have no idea where Thieves is and that he could hit at any moment, this is basically going to be a checked round out from Queens, unless they can just play bully ball through the front and then be able to turn everybody around. However, Aiden has different plans for that, and so does Elite. Senior on this team, who's a freshman in the CCL this season, has done a great job of being able to help out this team and really bring them to a rock-solid position in the top of the Northeast. 16-4 is the life count. Queens are just going to try and get on the point for the time, but it's Elite who's going to be there to shut out that last hope. The Akron Zips will get their first round on the board here in control. Queens Esports will go back to defense to try and get their second.
Submachine gun players, as we were mentioning, so influential this round. Whenever they can play at their tempo and their pace together, this duo in Elite and Aiden, so impactful around the map. Now offensively, you want to see if they can string together a bit more. We'll see if they even give B a look off of the break. They were able to get A with little to no contestation, but never really got a clean look at the B side the last go-around. Queens Esports playing a good and stout defensive hold for over 2 minutes. They'd like to not make it that hard on themselves this go-around. Zips looking to break off towards mid-map. Kaiser going to see what he can find as well, but we're leaning towards A for now.
Kaiser out looking for somebody who's going to be playing up close and personal on that B zone. You now know that the pressure has been alleviated over on B. Fortunately, if you are Akron, you don't really know where the rest of Queens Esports are going to be, except for the player that got a bit aggressive in towards the top of the bar area. This time, though, it's Aiden who walks away with a gunfight. So we'll open things up over towards A, but the problem is you still have Gwen out on a Heglitch, and the player that you cut down over on B the last time through in Sue actually walks away with a gunfight win onto Kaiser. So you really don't have an out over towards B, but you can start trying to hit this over towards A. Clock stopped. 53 seconds left here for Akron, and all that's left is now going to be Gwen. You have the information. Semtex over the top won't weaken him up, but it'll force to back him off as he can't see anything just yet. First tick of progress comes through. Player hopping over the wall is going to get cut down, and as the radio tower now also goes ahead and falls to the wayside, it's going to be all Akron here on A.
This should be the last bit of stacking needed for them to close it out. Maybe you'll give it one last push if you're Sue over the top. And with a couple kills going their way, maybe expect to see them fly this with a bit more tempo to try to stop this last tick from coming in, knowing just one player is left on it. You got to make a move, though. You got to try to contest it here, and Gwen will go in for the kill, but he bought it just enough time for reinforcements to get in. Queens Esports outnumber them. They get the clearance now, and you still need a tick, but would you look at that? The lane opens at the top of the map towards B.
Yeah, I just have a big problem with that. Like, if you're going to get 2 down, you just got to fly. If you waste too much time, that allows Akron to spawn back up and work their way over towards B, which is exactly what they've done. So now with 35 seconds left of the round, you've got Kaiser who's in your back line and an opportunity for Akron to make the play wherever they so choose. Now as Elite's up and towards the top, he's able to find 2, and that completely shuts down everything that you had in your defensive side. All you can do is play from the outside looking in, and if you get cut down on the opposite side spawn, it's a GG on the B zone.
You got the player that was through the back lines. Now you just know everything's coming from the front and possibly kick door side. Kaiser, a human turret here, playing on Hill, not letting anyone slip through the back and apply pressure. Now 2 ticks coming in, the stack coming in quickly as well. Sue, you got to make a play here if you want to stop things. I don't know that they'll get here in time. This is going to be the last hit.
I don't think he's going to be able to touch the point, and maybe he'll get a short contestation, but he won't. She Loves Aiden stays alive, is able to walk away with his life. And that tick of progress over at B to give them an extra minute and only one more bit of progress that they have to get on the A zone.
Queens Esports trying to set up this line. They find a few kills behind it as well, so at least holding off this first push is good, but you only need 1 tick if you're Akron. Zips, Queens Esports, it's got to be a picture-perfect defensive hold here if you want to try to stay alive and keep Akron from getting the series point. They're holding the line for now, Zips, so look to group up here in Warehouse and try to hit a push.
As long as you're tied on lives or you have the advantage, you're forcing Akron to play to your advantages. With 2 players on the zone right now for Queens Esports, things could very easily turn around. Sue would have loved to get that final kill. Could have been a cruise missile. Might have been costly towards the end of this game. But as Kaiser now takes a gunfight there on to Gwen, he'll be forced at least to dump down for just a moment. And as Thieves is able to walk away with a gunfight there, a Narcissist has to play around the corner, but it's only 1 tick of progress that they need. And if they stack it, it's all going to be over for Queens Esports. And as they spawn back across the opposite side of the map, the Akron Zips will take the last tick of progress they need to get the offensive round win. Now at series point, all they need is a defense here on Queens.
Been slower at times out of Akron to make these pushes, but they make sure they get the kills and the clearance that they want over the site before collapsing. And just 1 round needed, 1 defensive hold for them here. The first offensive round was just taken there. And now for Queens Esports, you've got to take this round, not only to stay alive in this one, but again, just to give yourself a chance, a fighting chance at having defense. And given the ticks that have come in, not even going to be possible at this point. You'd still be down by 1 tick if you were to find them both. So for now, simply battling to stay alive and get comfy on offense, because you're going to be here a couple rounds even if you can take this one.
And that's so difficult too. You know, Thieves plays a different spot off the rip this time. You usually see him go out towards the radio side. Kaiser will jump down. He's going to actually 2 aggressive gunfights he's going to be forced to take here in just a moment if they actually want to go ahead and find him. But they actually allow Aiden just to come back over the top in the back line. Everybody falls. She Loves Aiden pops a 3-piece. Kaiser finds 1. And now Queens Esports is put in the blender because guess who's on the opposite side of the map waiting for the push? It's going to be Elite. He finds himself 1. Now everybody else can start pushing up the map. It's another 4 down here. Akron Zips flying on the defensive side. Queens Esports in the blender having no idea how to get out of this. She Loves Aiden. He's on a rampage. Oh, Skylar, you're one lucky lady.
Akron Zips. I mean, give him room to breathe. There is no let up here out of the squad. Only lost 4 lives, taken 15 off the board, 20 seconds left. It is looking desperate for Queens Esports. Yeah, you were getting gunned at every single turn. Sure, you're going to get on B and stop for a moment, but when the Zips turn around and look to collapse, this should be GG, depending on the kills they find here.
Thieves trying to hop down into the point, stop everybody from Queens to be able to get on this B zone. 16 seconds left in the round, 25-10. Akron only losing 5 lives here on defense. And once again, Kaiser is in your back line. With 7 seconds, you're not close to A, you're not close to B. The only thing that you can possibly do is just try to sprint back over onto the A zone, but it's Thieves who's there, who's found another 3, tries to snap for 4, but the Akron Zips will close out the series in just about as fast as the raid was cleared in Destiny 2. With a 3-1 victory, the Akron Zips will fly high inside of another series where they take it flawless.
This team, when they decide to turn the slaying up, I mean, look at how balanced it is too. 23-23, 26-26. Again, the squad that you talked about, people were pleasantly surprised at, you know, how well this team is performing, given who they were able to string together, with Thieves just being left over. And there are no signs of slowing down for them. Again, when everything is clicking, this is a very dangerous team. A team that is not just looking at top 25 standings, threatening to crack into that top 10 if they keep performing like this.
Absolutely. And again, like we already talked about Akron not only taking a few maps off of the top teams, which we kind of classified as a league of their own type gig at the top of the Northeast, but you know, if they can continue to play with almost flawless perfection against even some of these mid-pack teams in the Northeast, and you know, translate that into the playoffs, you know, once again, I genuinely think this Akron team is one that can make it to the LAN at the end of the year. You know, it's going to take a little bit of work for maybe getting a bit more of it, not I want to say easy bracket, but a bit better of a bracket, and being able to work through it in that regard. But again, this team, you know, even against the Queens Esports roster, they make things look easy, and I'm just so happy to see how much this roster has grown from start to here of just this season alone. Again, like we talked about at the top of the broadcast, Thieves was the only one returning from this roster last year, and sure, he might be the captain, but Aiden has been a surprising uptick for this roster. He's really come into his own since the start of the year. Kaiser, you know, you think of him from when he was doing his stuff with Wester and Elite. You know, like I said, he was a senior going into this year, but a freshman into the CCL because he just didn't know Akron had a team, or the CCL was even a thing. So it's just really cool to see kind of this team grow over the year, continuously seeing that story develop.
Absolutely so. And really, everything is in their hands of what they want to continue to polish up, what they want to continue to grow into. Again, close that gap between those top teams that you had said are kind of just playing out of their mind. What Akron can do is control that narrative in the sense of how well they're able to close that gap and show that discrepancy by coming out and winning in a 3-0 fashion like they did tonight. Definitely take steps in that direction. Again, you look at the distribution of workload, everyone with over 2,500 damage, which again is quite a feat to behold. Just the even distribution, right? The teamwork is so impressive to me out of this Akron team. It's not just one player that's popping off and doing everything. It is anyone at any given time. All 4 of these players made plays throughout the night and made it look easy.
Well, I was going to say, if the Queens Esports players would have stayed in the lobby just a bit longer, we could have looked at the true and full disparity between both of the teams. But again, you know, Narcissist, I think almost went double negative there. Not to, you know, necessarily shine a brilliant spotlight on that. But, you know, only having 15 kills opposed to losing 30 in a control is never going to be a good thing. And when you're always, you know, expending lives every single round, it's going to be very difficult to win. So the fact that they were even able to pull that first one off was good. I'm happy that we were able to see that from them. But really across the board, it was Akron from start to finish. None of these games really got to a point where you thought, oh, well, maybe Queens has a chance. And again, it's not to talk bad about this team. It just speaks to the lengths and the attributes that Akron has still continued to grow and prove to themselves.
Definitely so. A team that is continuing to build upon their already found success this season and look to only show upward trajectory these last few weeks and in their coming matches.
Absolutely. Well, as we've seen this series kind of come to a full circle close, we kind of mentioned it beforehand. A time respecter here. We don't usually get series that wrap up that quickly, so anytime it happens, you know, sometimes it's refreshing to see, to where we can, you know, continuously cover more matches in a quicker fashion. Maybe would have liked a little bit of a closer series there. Would have loved to see Queens Esports really start to kick it into the next gear, and show that they have the capabilities to really make a potential Cinderella or a dark horse push into the playoffs. But Akron just continued to show us their dominance. Coming up next, we're going to have the High Point University going up against Florida International University, a Southeast bubble match with 2 teams trying to keep their hopes for a first round bye alive. When we come back from a short break, we'll cover everything and more that we need to know about that match. But until then, don't go too far. The CCL will be back.